everyone. So in today's video, we're gonna do something crazy. We are going to let a combination of Miss Melody and an AI software choose nail art. So we're going to randomly pick things in the classic postcard, pick out different options, and then we're going to input them into an art generating AI software, and we're gonna see what it comes up with, and then I'll use those reference photos that the AI gives me to make nail art. It is such a cool concept, and I feel like it would be a really fun way to just jazz things up. If you guys love this idea, you like the idea of just taking random things and seeing what, an AI software will come up with for nail art, I'm going to do little surveys here and there coming up whenever I want to do this for people to just give me crazy things, whatever you can think of, and then I'll pick one, or I'll let her pick one, or I'll let some generating software pick one, and we'll do some more crazy stuff. I hope you guys like this. I am super excited about this idea, and don't forget to click subscribe to see all my future videos as well.
So here we go. She's picking. The first one she picked was square. So that's for the nail shape. That will not go into the AI software. Then we've got cubism, pretty, tiger, eating, yellow and blue, ice cream. And after we type that into the AI software, I'm going to add a couple words just to make it so that the software can understand it, like a painting of a pretty tiger eating blue and yellow, or yellow and blue ice cream. It's such a crazy mix of stuff. So we're going to see what this gives us. So this is a website called DALL-E. And after you click the generate, then it takes just a moment. It kind of gives you some ideas. It'll give you ideas of different things to write as far as what kind of ideas. And then it'll give you 4 images. So I'm going to look at these. I like the one that's all the way to the left the most, but it wasn't totally my favorite. I'm just going to click through these, see what it gives me, see if there's anything that jumps out. I mean, I am the artist here, so I do have a little bit of control over which one I like. I like that one the best, but it wasn't perfect. So then after I have that, then you can go up and there's a button that says variations up in the corner. So after I was looking at that one, like, I feel like it could be better. The eyes weren't quite what I was hoping. So I'm going to click a variation. So the software will take all of the tips from that one and it will go through and it will make more images that are like that original one. So now we've got another series of pictures. I'm going to go through these ones the same, but this one right there, the one I'm going to click on, that's the winner. That's the clear winner to me, and that is the one that we will base this nail design off of. I've downloaded it, and here it is. Isn't that cool? It's such a fun idea, and you can do so many different combinations of things. So we've got cubism. I have never painted in cubism before. And so here's my color palette, and I've got a base coat across the nail, and we're going to give this a go. To start it out, and the funny thing about cubism, it's sort of a let the lines just go with the flow and figure it out as you go. But when you're replicating cubism, you can't do that. So there's a lot of math that goes in to working in this concept. So I'm going to rough in some outlines with black gel paint. Like I said, rough them in. They don't have to be perfect. I'm just going to kind of wing it. I definitely will paint over some of these lines when I get deeper into this, but I want to just try to work it in. On the thumbnail, which is the one that I will be showing you in the video, I really focused on trying to fit as much of this cubism painting into the nail. It worked out really well that Melody picked square for the nail shape because cubism worked very, very well on a square nail. This would not have been nearly as pleasing if it had been on an almond-shaped nail. It just wouldn't have been quite right. So I was very happy that she went with square. It just happened to work out that way. After I've got those first base outlines done, I'm going to put that in my lamp for 60 seconds, and then I'm going to start filling in some of those color areas. There are a ridiculous number of colors in this painting that the AI gave me. And I'm going to use obviously that color palette that I showed you, which is a beautiful mix of colors. All of them will be, I'll put all the color names in the description box below. And for anybody that's curious, they are all Madam Glam in brand. They work so well for painting that whenever I'm painting something crazy, I specifically will go to my collection and just pull Madam Glam colors because they work the best. So we've got this first rich kind of orangey terracotta brownish color, and I'm going to be going over this. I'm going to go over the blue background, even though it basically does not show at all at the end, in the end of the video, so I could have not done that, but I liked having a base that's a color that would be present in the painting, and it's the background color, and if some of it happened to have shown, it would have been just fine. Now I'm going to go through with my yellow, and the yellow that I'm using is the yellow gel paint. The reason I'm using that one to start with, I will completely paint over everything that's done in yellow gel paint later, is because yellow is a color that is notorious for not being entirely pigmented and covering very well. However, gel paint on its own is much more intensely pigmented than gel polish is. And so if I have a yellow base over all of the areas that need to be the yellow, then when I go through and I add the final color of yellow, it'll cover up and it'll be nicely completely opaque, and it'll just take 2 coats, whereas it might still look kind of patchy after 2 coats if it was just the gel polish. So I'm going to add the toenails, the eyes. After each color switch, I am fully curing this just to make sure that they don't blend or move, at least at this point. When I do the littler, smaller stuff later on, I do kind of do a couple things at a time before curing. I'm going to add in my light blue. This is very much a, I don't know, just like a fill in the blanks kind of a situation. As you are going through, if you want to try this whole technique out, and if you don't want to do anything that is so far out of your box, like I did cubism, like I said, never painted anything in this style before. Actually, I fully enjoyed it. I thought it was amazing, and I really think I will do something along this line again. We'll see what I decide to come up with next. But I've never done that before. So that was outside of my comfort zone. My choices were realism or realistic, cubism, and anime. So the realistic, that's like my safety net. That was my safety net choice. The cubism and the anime are not my safety net choices. I don't work in anime. I don't work in cubism, at least not typically for either of those styles. So I figured, you know what? This is an excellent way to force me out of my comfort zone, which I thought was a great kind of, it's not my choice, it's going to be what it's going to be, and I get to try something. And I love that. I love that part of this concept, and I would highly encourage anybody else to try that too. And don't give yourself the option of switching it. Set your mind to it and be like, you know what, whatever the cards come up today, even if you just pick a card and it just says cubism, or it just says anime, or it just says realism, or it just says an animal, something, have a box of postcards or notes that have things that you don't typically do. And then if you are ready for a challenge, just go into the box or the hat or whatever it is and draw one out. And before you do it, tell yourself, whatever I pick, I am doing that today, because it's a good way to kind of get over that first step of making yourself start. And that's the hardest part, is starting. And so once you get there, it's all fun and games from then on out. So keep filling in your tiger, grab all of your colors, mix some of the colors together, especially if you have a design that has as many shades as mine do. Pick a good basis of color and then have them next to each other so you can easily just kind of stir them up a little bit so that you have shades between the colors that you picked. And you could get away with far less colors as a start than what I did. I had quite a few that I had picked out, which also, if you don't have as many out in the beginning, you don't have to put them away later, which is another benefit of mixing your own colors, is you don't have to put nearly as many things away. On my tiger in my AI rendering, there's a little swirl on my tiger's left cheek. On the right cheek, there are the swirls, but they are kind of a little less precise. I liked the precision of the one single swirl, so I decided to take creative liberty and I made them the same from cheek to cheek. It's as much as I am trying to replicate this AI rendering exactly, I decided to make a few simple changes like that one, just to make it, to me, improved. And that's kind of the idea, I think, with this AI program, is it's a really good way to kind of work out some kinks in ideas. And if you have an idea for art and you're just not sure how it's going to work out, especially if you are not as good at visualizing, you could put in a concept and just see what it gives you, to see if it helps spark ideas. And you don't necessarily keep the AI's rendering 100%, but you can use that to change something up. So if you know that you want a nail art design that is pink and zebras, but you don't know how you want it to be done, type in a couple different variations of pink and zebra and see what it gives you. I'm gonna have to do that now that I said that, everybody. I have to do that now. So after I've got all of my colors filled in, I filled in the dots, I filled in the blanks, I'm going to go back to my black gel paint and I'm going to outline absolutely everything. Which, in terms of, my preference for art and for what I like to do, I was all excited about that part because I love to outline. I think it is so much fun. So for me, this is like my reprieve. I've got all of these colors in, all these crazy colors. Now I get to complete everything. I love the finished look of something in this style that has those intense, precise outlines. So just going through, doing all the outlines. As you are doing outlines on something, I like to remind people that you want to pull towards your hand. You want to avoid too much of a left to right angle or up and down. Some left and rights, depending on how experienced you are with brush control, are okay, but you never want to try to push, which is especially tempting when you're painting a circle or something that's circular. Is, you start up, you kind of just want to, almost like you're writing with a pen, because with a pen, you make the full rotation. Ballpoint pen, make a full rotation. Think of it more like a calligraphy pen. You always pull down, you always pull towards your hand. And as long as you can kind of get that idea, making outlines is so much easier. And also, brush quality makes an incredible difference. If you're not using the right products, you're not setting yourself up for success. So if outlines seem daunting, I'm going to say this a million times, practice. Really, it's really the best thing. It's the only thing. Just practice, but also make sure you're practicing with products that are going to help you and not make it more difficult. So gel paint that's a nice, smooth texture, big deal. And a brush that you like. And people like different brushes. Different brushes work well for different people. So even if somebody recommends a certain brush and you try it and it's not the thing for you, don't get too discouraged, but try other ones. They don't have to be nail art brushes. You can go to a craft store and pick up some teeny tiny detail brushes, the smallest ones you can find, and just see what works for you. After I've got the outlines done on the majority of my face, there was that one detail. There's a heart shape on the forehead that I hadn't done before. I hadn't filled in that detail, so I'm going to do that, as well as adding the pupils of my tiger's eyes. And that pretty much completes those details. Add some little white highlight in each eye and some matte top coat over the top of this, and it's done. Across the other nails, I painted smaller, more zoomed in sections of the face, like the eye, the ice cream, the side of the face, the cheek area, and just kind of really brought in a closeness to the different areas of the tiger and kind of emphasized some of those colors. I love the way that this turned out. I am so excited by this. I love this concept. If you have any ideas or any thoughts or any suggestions, I would love to hear them down below, and I will see you all next time. Bye.